Huh, I wasn't aware that I was going to be covering this, but apparently the Fulton County Jail in Georgia, you know, my state, the one that I live in, apparently Trump is getting booked there. And that place has a story we need to tell before we can actually get into that. So let's get into the fan art section, and then let's get into that. So the first bit of fan art we have here is from Charlie Dompler's FTMBF. My first ever fan art submission. Context is that someone in Tomar's stream asked him a hypothetical about being a pink slime that was going to be eaten. Guess he's now part of the Suris channel lore now. Jesus Christ. The next one we have here is from Axo that has cream, Lord Dumpy, and Holchan. You wanted Lord Dumpy and Holchan bread, you say? No, I meant one of them was going to breed the other. I guess that means they are bread. I guess they're bread. They're bread. The last one we have here is also bread. More bread. This time it's Yumi, as in Yumiko VT. Thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the topic at hand. But only after you subscribe. That's the thing you should do. And comment, I don't know, favorite Magic the Gathering deck. That one. That's the thing you should do. That's the artificial engagement that YouTube pays me for. Ignore the fact that they've cut my pay in half. That doesn't matter. That says nothing about how good I am at my job. I suck no matter how much they pay me. So, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. So, first we begin with a story about LaShawn Thompson. LaShawn, I believe, was a person who I made a tweet about, I think a few months ago. And I got a bunch of people kind of angry at me for that one, and it was fairly well deserved. I basically showed a corpse on my timeline in a very angry fit of rage, going, "Hey, if you don't like bad conditions in jail cells, then maybe you should do something about it. Do not look away from this. Please just look at this and use it as motivation to go do something to make conditions better in jail cells." And it was a poorly thought out post. All things considered, it was not a moment where I think even some of my best friends and allies were looking at me and going, "Yeah, that was the right thing to do." No, they really weren't. But I bring that up because I actually do know a little bit about this particular case here. Said LaShawn Thompson was neither the first nor the last person to die in Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, Georgia last year. But when the circumstances of his death were revealed, he was found eaten alive by insects and bedbugs in a filthy cell. According to his family, people outside of the Fulton County began to take notice. Said, sound? Wait, what do you mean sound? I'm right. What? Sound? Davina Robbins, I'm fairly certain that's sound on your end. Has the sound gone low? It shouldn't have. The sound hasn't gone low, I don't think. The revelations about Thompson's death in April this year, which an autopsy report said was caused by dehydration, malnutrition, severe body insect infestation, and untreated decompensated schizophrenia, prompted the resignation of multiple members of the jail's executive staff. As it should. As it honestly should. Last month, the Department of Justice announced that it had launched a sweeping civil investigation into the conditions at the facility. I see what it was. I went back here, and that affected my volume. I'm back up here. That should be making the volume should be better now. I need to stay a consistent area. I recently rearranged my desk. I need to stay a consistent distance from my mic. That's my problem. That's my fault. I'm sorry. But So the recent allegations of filthy housing teeming with insects, rampant violence resulting in death and injuries, and officers using excessive force are cause for grave concern and warrant a thorough investigation, said Ryan Buchan, U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia. Now, the infamous jail will be in the spotlight once again when former President Donald Trump and 18 others charged in District Attorney Fani Willis's election interference probe are expected to surrender themselves to the facility for processing this week. The processing of the former president and others is likely to underscore what critics have called a two-tiered system of justice for white-collar defendants. Known locally by its street location, Rice Street, the Fulton County Jail has suffered from overcrowding, inmate deaths, excessive force from officers, structural issues, outbreaks of lice and scabies, malnourishment among the inmates, and according to the Department of Justice and multiple nonprofit watchdogs that have issued reports on the facility, that ain't changing anytime soon. That's just the shit that they have found there. A public records request conducted by the Southern Center for Human Rights found that during a September 2022 outbreak, 100% of the inmates in one unit suffered from lice, scabies, or both. Jesus, that is inhumane conditions. Those are not humane conditions. Those are not conditions that you want people to be in. Inmates are not. I don't care. There's a certain point where you have to be like, hey, are we the bad people for treating people like absolute garbage? Razor says Georgia jails are not pretty. Yeah, I know Georgia jails aren't pretty. I've been in one. They are horrifying. I remember my jail experience where I had cold air blasted at me repeatedly every 10 minutes in an effort to either pacify me, keep me awake, or I don't remember what the logic was. We weren't given it. I just knew that, I did not like it. Also had to shit in front of the other prisoners. Not a fun time. Not a fun time at all. So why does it sound like the jails there are being used for torture/extermination? So what the fuck did you do to go to jail? I missed an insurance payment on my car insurance. That I'm not even kidding. That's why I was in jail. I missed an insurance payment. Whee! Well, correction. I had to go to work, and I had missed an insurance payment, so I drove without insurance for a day, and that was enough. That got me in trouble. But it meant that I got to experience the inside of a Georgia jail, and yeah, they ain't pretty. They blow ass. Or in my case, a lot of air. And it was uncomfortable. A public records request conducted by the Southern Center for Human Rights found that during the outbreak, we already talked about the lice stuff, among those affected, 90% were found to be significantly malnourished. The fact that people held in the custody of the Fulton County are so malnourished and ill that they are experiencing muscle wasting, commonly seen in people with late-stage cancers, is horrifying, said the SCHR Executive Director, Tarika Ganzi. When Trump arrives at the jail for processing, he's expected to spend no more than a few hours inside the facility. In contrast, many defendants spend weeks in the facility awaiting their release on both bond and their trial date. And some people have died there. God, that's less than ideal. But we already talked about the fact that some people have died there. Christopher Smith, 34, died inside the jail earlier this month after waiting nearly 4 years for his trial to start. Another inmate in a mental health unit was found dead in October with his wrists and ankles tied. What? They're not running a prison there. They're not running an actual jail. They're running a torture chamber. There is no other explanation at that point. I'm sorry. I know somebody's going to get on to me for like, Suris, you're hyperbolizing. No. I've been to these places. They suck. That's not a fun thing. That's not quite Guantanamo levels of shit, but that's still some shit. Prisoners are people. And if you think that prisoners should not be treated like people, then I sincerely hope you never, ever, ever in your life ever get in trouble with the law, no matter how small the infraction, because you'll be going to the same jail. This past Thursday, Alexander Hawkins, 66, was pronounced dead after being found unresponsive in a medical unit cell where he was awaiting trial. He was being held on a $5,000 bond for a shoplifting charge. Last year, 15 inmates died inside Fulton County Jail. This year, 7 have died. According to a 2022 report from American Civil Liberties, wow, I need to figure out why my phone is cutting off everything. But according to a 2022 report from the American Civil Liberties Union, the Fulton County Jail housed 515 people who remained unindicted for over 90 days. 242 were only charged with misdemeanors, and 293 who could not pay bail. The 19 defendants in the election interference case, which included Trump's former chief of staff Mark Meadows and his once-time personal attorney Rudy Giuliani, will likely encounter a straightforward fingerprinting and mugshot process, according to former Georgia prosecutor Chris Timmons. Unless somebody tells me differently, we are following our normal practices, and so it doesn't matter your status. We've got mugshots ready for you. I know they say this, but let's be honest. You all know they're going to be treated way better there than any of the inmates. Because the police officers there can get paid off by them or their benefactors. Like, we all know that, right? We all know that's a thing that's going to happen, right? The 19 defenders are now likely to be released on their signatures, known as an own bond, meaning they will likely not have to put down any money or property, given their relatively low flight risk. Wow, isn't that so cute? Isn't that so special? Isn't it so cute that somebody can get a $5,000 bond because they shoplifted? But if you have enough notoriety, all you need is your signature because, man, I guess you're really not going to be a flight risk. You're not really going to be a problem, are you? So you just need your signature there. So the people who have the money to pay these things don't have to, but the people who don't have the money to pay these things, because if you're shoplifting, you probably don't have a whole lot of money. Also, hi, Hannah. Thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? We're covering the Fulton County Jail and Trump getting arrested and sent there right now. Hopefully y'all have a wonderful time here, and hopefully y'all had a great time over on Hannah's stream. Cryptalon, Mimint, that's a face roll name, Tigwik, Holly Air Jack, Holly Ari Jack, thank you all for the follow. Said, Suris are literally paying bills with exposure. Yeah, they're literally paying bail with exposure. We got to see a neo-Nazi get his ass handed to him. Good. I hope he flipped. Flower Sheeps, thank you for the follow. Also, for those who don't know, we are currently in the middle of a subathon right now. There are, as of right now, 2 days left on the timer, which will make this a total of a 7-day subathon. If it ends there, we are 50% of the way on the goals of the subathon right now, which you can see above my head. And if you hit the exclamation mark sub command, you can use that to support the stream and help towards the subathon amount. Razor Stormer in the chat actually has noted that he will be matching any donations that are run today up to about $200. So if you guys want to help out the stream, that is a thing you can do. Just letting you all know that, since we are in the middle of a subathon. Phoenix, thank you for the follow. Fluffy B1, thank you for redeeming your points for what's getting converted, because remember, there was a mutually assured destruction that was dropped, so wall. And then also, Bardlock Moses, thank you for resubscribing. And the Comet of Cassandra, thank you for the hydrate. And Flower Sheeps, thank you for the follow. No, nope, it's turned away. So Nick Fuentes is both a Nazi and a Quisling. I mean, Fuentes, if he thinks the leopards won't eat his face, he's even more delusional. Yep. Adasinar says I submitted that one. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. But now that I've given my spiel, I need to go ahead and get back to covering this madness here that's happening in my backyard. The 19 defendants are likely to be released known as on their own bond because they have low risk of flight, I guess, which is just weird. However, for many defendants awaiting arraignment at Rice Street, the process is vastly different. Yeah, for me it was $2,000 of bail plus more money after that. Booking at the jail normally includes surrendering property and undergoing medical screening before entering the main jail to await a pre-trial release, according to the jail's website. Timmons said that the time to complete the process varies. One of Timmons' white-collar clients, due to an issue with his warrant, once spent 4 days completing the process before securing his bond. Trump's lawyers are expected to meet with Fulton County officials this week to negotiate the former president's surrender package before Trump turns himself in. Sources have told ABC News that. Like the 18 other defendants, Trump is then expected to be processed at the jail by this Friday, assuming that he does not negotiate an alternative surrender location. Okay. Okay, and that's about it there. Let's take a look at the comments. Let's take a look at what the response is here. Let's see what's going on here. The last few decades I've noticed a trend in which many Americans deplore the poor and look up to the ultra-wealthy. It happened in the 1920s as well. This confuses me because I was taught that the poor and wealthy are equal in the lies of the law and good people's minds. I mean, that's also, like, just how it's supposed to work. People pretend we're a Christian nation, right? Well, if we're going to pretend we're a Christian nation, then isn't it supposed to be the meek that inherit the earth? Isn't it supposed to be the poor that are blessed? Isn't it supposed to be them that are, like, revered, as opposed to everybody going, Daddy Musk? As opposed to that? Like, fuck America, man. Just, sometimes, just, we can do better. Robert Adset says, surrender package. Said Flower Sheep says Jesus was all about giving your shit away to the poor. Yep. Jesus does talk quite a bit about the rich sucking. Jesus Christ. Root Fake says something something camels something something eyes and needles. Something something that. Axo says never say Daddy Musk again. I won't say Daddy Musk ever again. You're right. It's not a thing I'll do. I'll do better. Or will I? Anyway, with that said, this is where I want to throw things over to y'all. What do you think of this entire debacle? How do you feel about Trump getting sent to jail for, what, 3 hours? 4 hours? Come on, we know it's not going to be that long. We know it's not going to be that long. But how do you feel that's going to go down? Give me your fan theories about how this is going to happen. Moreover, what things do you think need to be done to this jail cell to fix it? But with that said, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Dark Sorcerer, thank you for the follow. And as always, everybody, insert end of video tagline here.